blastmusic247.com. We're changing the industry one artist at a time.
Anybody there? Just kidding. Hey. Welcome to Sanctuary Experience Metamorphosis 365 podcast. I am glad to see you in the building today. I hit my handy dandy chatting for a second. Y'all, today we're going to have us a good conversation, but first things first, I'd like to say thank you to Blast Music 247 and for the last two episodes. And I'm giving myself grace. I've been saying Blast Radio, because that does exist too. However, Blast Music 247. Thank you, just for the opportunity in a beautiful space among some incredible people. It's beautiful to be here. And thank you to Troy, the VP, who is handling that background stuff that your girl just don't know. How about that? I just don't know it. And I'm okay with that because grown-ups get to do grown-up things way better. Okay, great. So with that being said, I also like to say thank you to my sunshine Cromwell, who handles Shine Vibrations on Blast Music 247. So if you have not had a chance to check her out, this week is good. Check her out. So I got all dolled up and dressed up and hopped in front of this camera so we can have a conversation. Okay, our regular conversation. We'll be doing this every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So do pop in and join me as we go. Last week, toward the end of the episode, I came across a question. I believe it was from Carla from Crazy Carla's Concoctions, who's also one of the podcast hosts for Blast Music 247. Check her out on Thursday, I believe. So she had posted a question in the chat, and the question was, I believe, and I might be butchering it, shadow. She wanted to understand a little bit more about the shadow. So I really didn't have enough time to touch it then, so we're going to touch it just a little bit now, and then we're going to move on to the meat of the conversation for this evening, and that is a conversation about the men, y'all. It's time to have a conversation. So, to the shadow work. The simplest way, or the simplest thing that comes to me is everybody has duality. Everybody has a state of duality that they can exist in, right? We're reared, for those of us who are raised by some people prefer that word, trained on how to behave successfully in society. So what does that mean? That means that we're taught out the gate, you get up, you make your bed, you hit your knees, you say some prayers, you get the bathroom, you handle your hygiene, have your breakfast, like all these manners of conditioning, right? And those manners in which we condition do not always include the fullness of who we are. It's more directing us to become what's expected. All right. So I would say now that you have an understanding of the what's expected part, you can get a picture of living outside of the expectations. And that's kind of what shadow tends to be. It is that set of thoughts, feelings, behaviors that society is really not going to train you to do. You know what I mean? Like as a collective, as a family, you're not going to have your parents say, just get up and go out the door and go to school. That ain't going to occur. For parents that care and that are present, you will not experience that. Okay. So yes, we have outliers, but you're going to move into those unacceptable, right? Things like I'm not even gonna speak half of them things out loud. I'm gonna leave it and just say the unacceptable things that do show up in our society any freaking way. And it comes out really clearly in attitudes and in behaviors. And you know who you are when you get to interacting with numbers of other individuals outside of your familial household, right? You know when you come across that person who maybe has something that you really wanted or look the way you want to look, and you are overtaken with that feeling. And the feeling, people typecast it as jealousy, right? That's a label that's stuck on it real quick. Jealousy. And yeah, I would agree that there's jealousy on the plate, okay? But do understand it's a plate. There's a lot of food on that plate. And the first food to that plate is the insecurity that's in self, right? The things that we haven't addressed, the things we haven't allowed to breathe because we were told to do it this way. Right. This is the way you do this. You do this, you do this, you be polite, you be kind, you speak respectfully, you listen. When adults are talking, you scram, things like this. Like you handle life in a certain way, but what happens when it don't fit? So that's when you move into your shadow behaviors, and then some people fall right in. Some folks don't have a damn to give, and they operate out loud, disrespectfully, rudely, jealously, hater gaze, right? And oddly, there's room for that too. Okay, that is literally, it is normal, though we refuse to normalize it. And I hope that kind of helps with clarity. It is normal to have feelings, right? And it is normal to want to express them. That is freaking normal. What we as a society have done is we will never normalize rape, molestation, physical abuse. We will never normalize that. But if we look at it from a historical account, how long has it been going on? So I think I've spent enough time kind of like scratching on that thought. And what I would say to help is, at some point, you got to be honest with who you are. The kind of person you are and the heart you have and the way you engage. You got to get honest with who you are, and you got to get honest with yourself first. You lie to all these other people if you want to. Go ahead, be a liar. But get honest with you on who you are, and that includes, how do I do that, Melikia? And I guess I didn't even introduce myself. How about that? I am Melikia K, Courtney, your host for the next hour or so. I am the founder of Sanctuary Experience, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Back to topic. So how do you do that? It is a matter of sitting quietly with yourself and thinking your own thoughts. And in a world where we are slammed with the distractions, the distractions is on king, right? Turning off the TV, putting that phone on do not disturb, putting it in a whole different room than you are in, sitting down with you in your own physical body, physically grabbing a pen and paper and just beginning to write. That is one of the easiest ways to enter in to that level of understanding of self, because that's really what it boils down to. Everybody has a shadow self. They may not want to admit it, but everybody got one. Okay? And in the same manner that you find the most loving person who will love you and give you the last bit of everything that they are and have, they have the same propensity, the same ability, when pushed, to respond as the most egregious person you know. Okay, so get with yourself, sit on down, get that paper and pen out. And a lot of times what you'll find, especially if you're dealing with a rapid mind, people like to call it monkey mind, rapid thoughts, okay, rapid intrusive thoughts, or rapid things that keep you company, and it's crows and a whole lot of other things, right? Right. Let it go. Hey, Logan, how are you? Let it flow. Just write. Even if it's random and it doesn't make a lick of sense, begin writing. And then as the crazy clears, those crazy flying, wandering thoughts clear, you will find that your emotions are becoming more clear. Begin to write them down. You will find that the stories that are pressing you are more clear. Okay. You will find, if you look real good, and if you have a professional on deck to help you look real good, what you will find is that genesis. Okay, you'll find that origin of the thought or emotion, and then you'll have an opportunity to keep it or delete it. That is an option that you have every day of your life. And I have had clients, they come and they're wrecked, and I understand that. I get it. Life is strong. Life is not a punk. Living is not for the weak. So at the same time, you have an opportunity every day, 1,440 minutes every day, to create the life you'd rather live, right? All right. I think we've talked about the shadow enough. And I'm hoping that I answered your question. I believe it was, Carla. If that did not satisfy, if you'd like to ask me a more specific question, please do. And do try that writing exercise, because it will help you to unpack some things and to understand it better. We all have it. Don't be afraid of you. Don't be afraid of you. Don't be afraid to look in your mind and see what you're thinking. Look in your heart, see what you're carrying. Look at your body. The evidence is all over you when you stop and take a look. Okay. So that's a very entry level thought on it. You want something deeper? Ask me and we'll talk about something deeper, something more specific if you want. Okay. So let's rewind. And May 17th through 19th, I'm hosting Sanctuary Experience for the men. Why? Oh, we got a pop-up. Hey, there it goes. And if you like information on it, I would say go ahead and text that number that you see, 321-443-2495. You're texting SXPM, and you can drop that ad for me. Veep, thank you. So the reason I'm holding that is because I've had men come through many of my communities and bare their souls. And I know that is a hard thing to do. I know it's a hard thing to do, and I understand that. Why? Because again, we back to society. We're back to how we do things as a society. Sometimes it's not safe, right? You think about what it means to be a man. Men are expected to be strong, courageous, protectors, responsible, all these wonderful things. Just a lot of burden, a lot of weight, but they are not allowed or expected to have moments of softness, to cry without being judged. And if it's tiring, I hear the you a beep, you know what I mean? You a beep, all kind of, you fill in the blank on the beeps, right? And it's unnecessary. So I created that space to give a safe haven, a sanctuary to the men to come and unpack themselves, to come and hear and see and breathe themselves without the expectation or demands. Hey, Miss Fran, good evening, welcome. And it's important. So let's move back into a deeper why. One of my favorite clients who's now deceased, awesome dude, 8-figure earner. Hey, partner, what's going on? Tech issues? Okay, no worries. When we first started working together, it was on mutual exchange because there were some things I wanted to understand business-wise. And he had some things going on personally. Now, this man was an accomplished man. Do you understand? You understand the work that it takes to grow your business to 8 figures, okay? So he was not a slacker. He was a man, a manly man, one who loved his family, one who loved his children, all right? And loved his business and gave himself away. Okay, great. It eventually flipped to the point where when you know, like, and trust a person and you know, like, and trust their work, you get open real quick, right? So he opened up and began to share things that I ain't telling you because that's his business. But they were the typical things. I'll give you the banners because I think this is where we mutually meet. Too many of my male clients have said the same thing in this. They did not feel heard. Okay. They did not want to show a weakness or a softness that would be perceived as a weakness to their mate. And I'm like, damn, when you can't even go home and be, and then to have to deal with, and ladies, I love us. I love us. sometimes it seems like we lack the power of shut the fuck up. And that's a potty word, isn't it? But sometimes we lack that power of just be still, like be quiet for a minute. Every moment don't need to be filled with your voice. And this is no attack on the females. I promise you it's not. It is a reminder. And the same goes for men too. There are some men who run like that as well. It is a reminder that if you are in a relationship, someone is looking at you as a safe space. Be that. Be that. Especially if you're a person who expects that. Back to the men. So Gent was having a whole lot of issues, and there were some other legal things that popped up, and it was so much stress on him, and his body responded physically, as stress does. Okay, so that is too many men's story. Like, it is not unique to dude. It's not unique to dude. He didn't die from it. Recovered and fought forward. We did a lot of work together, and he at the point when we first met, and I guess I didn't say this, but he was at the point of unalive. He wanted to unalive himself, and I wasn't about to stand there and let that occur. Okay, so we did a lot of work together, and he got some mental health involved. Okay, got straight, like, and he did die, but mind you, a couple of years later, and at peace. Okay, and that was the point of bringing it up anyway. Like, I do believe that male or female or unassigned, we are all seekers of peace. You know what I mean? At some point, we want peace, inner peace, some quiet, some calm, some love, to be heard, to be catered to, especially if you are a person who caters. And I'm going to speak straight to the men. If you are a man who caters to your woman, to your lady, or to your friends, or to your family, or to your mother, or to your coworkers, or to your boss, or if you're the boss, to your employees, at some point, the law needs to kick in. Like, you want that back. Like, quit playing. You definitely want that back, and that's okay. That's okay. It's okay to want for yourself. And I find that I have that conversation on repeat when it comes to the gents. I love us ladies because we have so many ads and words and mouths reminding us self-care, Lady Day, take care of yourself, love on you, girl, all this other great stuff. And it is good. And I'm an advocate, and I believe in it, and I say it too. And at the same time, I see where the failing is when it comes to the guys. I see how we have, honest to God, dropped the ball in how we care for our men. And let's take it into parenting. Let's move from the relationship thought into the parenting of it. Especially our single moms. I swear, I feel like I'm shooting a little bit, but I'm not trying to hurt your heart. I'm really not. I'm trying to help here, because this is a moment of growth, if you allow it to be. For those women who are raising boys, and I'm gonna tell on myself, I understood, especially after my divorce, I understood that I wanted my sons to understand what it meant to be a man. Because I'm a woman. I have no freaking clue. You know what I mean? Let's rewind. I have a clue. Because I'm not slow. And I grew up around some really good men. And I understood, from this view, from the woman view, from the female view, of what a great man looked like. I was fortunate. I saw that growing up. I understood what these great men that were in my life, what they did, how they behaved, how they smelled. Hallelujah. And just the love that they poured out, and the support and the pillars that they were. So I did have a good view, thank God. And I wanted my boys to have that same good view and to be like those great men. That was important to me. So what did that mean? That meant that I needed to expose them to some healthy men. That meant that I was not trying to persuade them to be females. And somebody ain't gonna like me saying it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Stop. Stop. Children are children, let them be children. Okay, instruct, guide, teach, love. And if you're running around with a penis, let him be a boy. If that's how you want to behave. If he acting otherwise, let him act otherwise. But I don't agree with the trying to beat the energy out of a young boy, trying to force the activity of his mind and his curiosity and his desire to climb or his desire to bang. You know what I mean? We spend a lot of times quelling. Hey, sit down, be quiet. I'm tired. I don't want to hear that noise. Like, yo, chill. You're doing too much. Or when the curiosity kicks in and they got a billion and one questions and you answer 4 or 5 and then you done. Nah, that's what we signed up for, right? We gave birth. That's what we signed up for. Parents. And that's female and male. That's mom and dad that I'm talking to. And aunties and uncles too. It takes a village. So I find that we could do better. Okay, we can do better. And then I understood like one thing I really enjoyed, and it's I enjoyed it in this sense. It's so freaking consistent. I love consistent man. I absolutely freaking love it. And here's the truth. I would ask my brother sometime when he come home from work, how was work? I promise you, that man would say it's work. It was work. Mad chill and mad quiet, right? My brothers, my ex-husband, ex-lovers, my sons even say the same freaking thing. These men are serious about it. It's work. But when you sit, my honey, same thing. It's work. He better though. But when we sit down and really talk and find out what the heck occurred, dude, that's why it's important sometimes to just be quiet. Because if you be quiet and sit long enough, just chill and serve a little bit, you're gonna get the real story of how work was, right? And they go and endure the world for us and then come home to us. And how do we respond when that occurs, right? Like for real, how do you respond? I know better because I was trained better. So I do pretty good because I know better, and I'm not messing up my happiness for nobody. But I am offering words to the wise when it comes to your relationships and with your parenting, and when it comes to taking time to love on the men. And I'm laughing and I'm making some jokes here and there because I don't want it delivered heavy, and I ain't trying to stab your heart or offend you. Not on that bag, but I do care to point out that we could do better with awareness. We could do better. Oh, with conversation. And I was listening to Dr. B. Serious and then Young Love Van Sant. They did an interview, and I really want to remember the name of that thing she does. But if you guys follow Inyana Van Sant, please do, because she started also. There's like a group. Oh, I wish I had the name of it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find it and I'll drop it in the comments for the when the video is uploaded. But it really is awesome, and I believe it's a book involved too. Another avenue for men to go and stop being silent, and that's the point of it. Knocking the silence off. Like, it's time to start talking. If you are, and I joke around and I say if you're a penis carrying American, but it's not just about the Americans. Like, it's open. Okay, so if you are a man and you know that your problems are, and we'll say it like flat, if you know you are stressed out to the hilt and you do not have friends or anyone that you really open your mouth to and say, hey, listen, I'm struggling. I ain't gonna fault you. I'm not gonna sit here and judge you, but I am gonna say, dude, I bet you can make a friend. I bet you can make a friend somewhere, because you're not in this world alone. There's someone that you can speak to that will listen to you and help you get some of that stress off you. It's a decompression if you do. If you are running around here lonely, and some folks, when they get lonely, they do reckless things. Okay? And it's unnecessary, is what I'm saying. It's unnecessary. And I have some gents who've hit me with the I'm a man, that's not what we do. I'm going to challenge that and say that that's what you were taught. Back to society we go. I'm going to challenge and say that, maybe the people around you told you that. No, not yelling fix my life. I thought you were being funny when I saw fix my life. But um, someone told you that you needed to behave that way. Okay, a man does it this way. Well, that's one way to do it. But I'm gonna say that there's another way to do it too. There's another way to take it serious and not have a heart attack, and not eat yourself to death, and not hide away from the world, not be an angry squirrel. I'm gonna say there's a way to address the angst, and then here's the truth. Sometimes it goes beyond stress. It moves off into trauma. All right. And when you have gone through traumatic experiences, if you do not have a base and instruction on how to untie that knot about your body, then it is really holding you while you try to progress, while you try to enter a relationship, while you try to excel at work. That knot is holding you and reminding you, and it is aching, and it is paining, and it is gaining weight, and drowning you. So you could continue to try and ignore it or deal with it quietly and on your own. And I respect those men who do. I understand it, especially those who've been burned by trying to be open and get help. But I encourage you and say that that's just a way. You know what I mean? There's another way. And I don't know all of the folks who offer help for the gents, but I do know it's definitely on the rise. And please do take it seriously. Like, take your mental health seriously. And when those women are getting on your nerves, and kudos to the women who get on the nerves, who are specifically harassing you to do something about your health, them I'm gonna support. You call them naggy if you want to. I'm gonna high five them and say, because sometimes y'all don't listen. Sometimes y'all don't listen, and that's okay too, because women are persistent, and I love that about us. So this is really just a call to bring some things to attention and to remind you ain't alone. Quit playing. You are not alone. You're not alone. And even for those who don't have anyone, you're hearing this video, right? You're here and you're listening, which means that you're getting some tips and truths here. Go and get you a therapist. Why not? Go and get you a pen and paper and start writing things down just to get it up out of your mind so heavy. Why not? Go and get your recorder if you're not into that writing thing. I don't want to sit down and write, Melikia. I want to. Okay. Get you a audio recorder and just speak it into that and listen back to it. And no, I don't ever want you to write anything down without going back to read it. Okay, go back and read it. Because sometimes what you'll find, even when you're processing through things, you'll find that what you initially had in mind, once you get to writing it, it's like, oh no, that's not exactly what happened. This happened. Oh, that wasn't even that person. This was this person. Because sometimes our memory gets us, get that little flip-flop going on. And that's okay too. And I'll continue to say, and that's okay too, because I want you to understand grace. Grace is available for you too. Okay? Give everybody else grace around you. Give yourself some grace. You encourage the people around you to get the help that they need. Go get the help that you need. Take a minute. Sit down. Be. I got some gents who run constantly. Gotta go do this, gotta go do this, gotta do this. And I'm like, okay, you're gonna get tired in a minute. And what are you running from? What are you running from? And a lot of times folks are running from themselves. That's male, female, don't matter. A lot of times people are running from themselves. So all of that said, I'm gonna pause for the bills so they can get paid right quick. And I'll be back. Give me a minute.
Yes, indeed. Great messages. I love it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. And tonight's blast artist is a young lady who is known as, let me see, where did I do it? Christina Michelle Sales. And this is called Keep Moving. Check it out. Yes, indeed. And that is Christina Michelle Salas. And that is called Keep Moving. And if you are an independent artist or spoken word poet or even up and coming comedian looking for some exposure, you can go to blastmusic247.com and register for free. The Blast is also needing the fans of music. So if you love to hear great music, you can go to blastmusic247.com, Register as the unlimited artist and have access to hundreds and hundreds of independent music. Blast. We're constantly changing the industry one artist at a time. All right, Melikia, back to you.
Thank you, sir. And what a beautiful lady. She's so pretty. I love the video too. That was straight heart vibes, like heart vibes. And you have a killer sense of choosing the music, sir. Thank you. That was beautiful. It was beautiful to witness. And the message in the song, don't you give up. Let's go. Especially I'm having this conversation directed toward the toward the men. Okay. So what is the point of pointing out a problem if you're not going to offer a solution? I find zero sense in that. So what we're going to do is have a bit of a conversation, one way, albeit, and I'm hoping that you guys are talking to the screen and shooting out those messages. I wanted to share with you guys a few ways to kind of encourage the men in your life to make sure that they're feeling heard, seen, known, loved. Like it's important. I'm sure it's important to you, and let's make it important if it's not. If you're hearing this and it wasn't necessarily important to you before now, well, let's make it a priority. Let's take it seriously, right? Because there's nothing more serious than getting a phone call and seeing someone committed suicide, and you were right there, and they could have opened up to you, but maybe they didn't understand that they could. What about those men who feel like if they take time for themselves, they're being selfish and even lazy? Ooh, Jesus. Well, let's pause for a minute and address it. I've heard that. I had a gentleman tell me, I gotta be at work. I can't miss 3 days of work to come tend to me, because if I do that, then I feel like I'm falling down on responsibilities. Like that's what he was explaining, right? Okay. Well, here's the thing, and this is what I shared with him, and I kind of gave it to him with teeth, so don't be offended when you hear it like this. If you died, that's a lot longer than 3 days. If you died, because some of y'all are just hard-headed. We talked about that already. And some of you listen very well. Like some of y'all listen so good. I thank God for that. Because some gents are just ready. Some are just ready. And darling, I understand. I get it. Bills have to be paid. They are demanding as the grave. So I get that. And at the same time, this is what I also understand. The truth. What happens if you... let me see. I don't have permission to talk about this, but I wish I did ask. Let's see. There's someone I know who worked themselves dang near to the grave. We ain't saying no names. How about that? And this human was working 2 full-time jobs and picked up a few shifts doing other stuff like side work, because there was a goal in mind, and I respected his goal and I understand that. But it almost put him in the grave. And I'm like, no, chill. Like for real. And I'm just saying it lightly. When I do get permission to tell his story, I'm italic. Now I'll share it all. But I know that is not just his story. I've seen it too many times. So stop playing with yourself, because you must understand that what's going on in your body when you're holding all of that pressure. Pressure bust pipes, like we see it in the poetry world, meaning something totally else. Mischievous. However, pressure does bust pipes in your body. Like, quit playing. When do you take time for you? And if you don't take time for you, then understand, and please do get this, understand that you are diminishing your time on earth in this body, okay? When we do not stop to tend to ourselves, to tend to our mental, to tend to our health, the foods that we're putting in our bodies for our I must buy takeout every day people, words to wise, you might want to not. And I refuse to go do this. I'm not talking about my feelings. I'm not talking about my emotions. I'm not talking about my past and the things that happened and the horrible skeletons in my closet and the stuff that still freaking hurts 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years later. And it still hurts because you refuse to address it, use tools, and lay it to rest. And the damn thing keeps coming back up. And that's from males and females, like literally. that thing gonna keep coming back up because it wants to get away from you too. You trying to run and get away from it, it's trying to get away from you. And that's its method. It's gonna keep coming up, keep coming up, keep showing up, keep showing up. Like, hey, I'm still here. Hey, I'm still here. Are you ready to sit and look at me? Are you ready to sit and listen? Can we talk about this now? Can we get some help? Can we work through this so that this does not have to be the story you carry like it just happened yesterday? For those who have those kinds of conversations and it is fully chalked with the past, stuck, stuck. So that's what I would say to those gentlemen who say that they don't have time and feel like they would be being lazy if they took time for themselves. That is a lie. Because especially when it comes to my 3-day event, you fit to work. Yes, we got some playtime involved, but there is work. There is work on the table. And the work is inner work, mental work. Hey, Wallace, what's going on? Evening, family. So you're not skating. It's gonna be somewhat vacation. I'm gonna give you, some peace, some time to sit to yourself and really think. But even in the downtime, you got work to do. So there's that. So and maybe we'll have in the future, maybe we'll have just a few days of rest if one would like to just part environment and rest. That might come in the water. But at this point, I'm offering you work. Okay. Back to where we were. So I want to share with you a few ways to encourage the men in your life. All right. Active listening. And I'm going to read my notes because I'm not human, and then I'm going to share. So take the time to actively listen to them without judgment or interruption. Without judgment or interruption. And I'll say what I said earlier with a potty word very politely. Without judgment or interruption. Please be quiet. Be quiet. Show genuine interest in his thoughts, in his feelings, in his experiences, and validate his emotions by acknowledging them and empathizing with them genuinely. Like, can we do that? Whether it is a male to a male or a female to a male, can we do that for one another? Can we give them a break? You know what I mean? And sit and listen and let them speak. And I promise you, when the well opens, sometimes you'll be freaking surprised. So, and you might want to respond. And then if it has to deal with something that occurred between the two of you, you may want to respond even more. But can you hold your peace just for a minute? Get it all out. And believe and trust me, I'm one of those people, if I need to, I'm just going to write myself a quick little text message note. We can go back to this. Okay, I'm going to talk about it right now. I'm going to sit and I'm going to listen. And I want to hear it all so that I understand it all. Because sometimes people are thinking out loud, just thinking it through and processing. I get that. And some folks don't have capacity for it. And some do. So be honest about who you are. That's one. Active listening. I encourage active listening. And if you are not, I am a professionally trained listener, so I get it. It's a little bit different on my end. But you have ears and you can hear, then that does mean that you can just sit still. If you need to sit on your hands to remind you and tap the bottom of your thighs, that's a trick that I used earlier on before I was disciplined in it. Just fingers underneath the bottom of your thighs and just tap. Because it will help you focus and it will help you listen to what's being said to you. Just tap. Because you're giving your body something to do. Okay? And you will find that, I kid you not, sit there. 4 fingers under your thighs, rest your thumb on the side, and just tap. And listen. Okay? And if you need to grab that phone and write yourself a quick note, hey, let's talk about this later, or I want to bring this back up, cool. All right. 2, quality time. Spend quality time together, engaging in activities that he enjoys, not just things that you want to do. Okay, great. And that strengthen your connection, whether it's going for a walk, cooking a meal together, or simply cuddling on the couch. And this is relationship stuff too. So, you'll see a little bit here and there, relationship, parenting, get in where you fit in, pull out what's meat for you, spit out the bones. Prioritize uninterrupted time to bond and deepen your relationships. Why is that important? Especially if you're in a marital relationship or a committed relationship. That uninterrupted time is the bomb. And I find that folks who have been married, this has been my experience, okay? from people that were clients of mine, and then folks who were in life and who I got to engage with. And when I say I've been to over 40 weddings, yeah, in person, like not virtually. So I believe in what marriage can provide. Okay, great. That being said, around the 16, 17 year mark, folks get itchy. I don't know what it is, like twitchy, and I see a lot of folks try to break up at that point. 16, 17 years of marriage ain't going nowhere. You about to be mad over there, I'm gonna be mad over here till we figure it out. But I find that entirely too many people choose to divorce at that point. And behind the door of that issue is they forgot to have uninterrupted time together and continue to build their bond and stay strong. And they got to growing in opposite directions. So that's something to be aware of and keep in mind. Let's keep it moving. Express appreciation. Oh my ever God. Oh my ever God. Thank you is so simple. It don't cost you anything but your pride if that's in the way. Saying thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sweeping. Thank you for doing the dishes. Thank you for grabbing that for me when you were out at the grocery store, moving to parenting. Thank you for being on top of your job, keeping your room clean, handling your grades. Thank you for thinking before you did that. Thank you for being honest with me. Okay, thank you goes a long, long way. Regularly express your appreciation for him and the things that he does. Offer specific compliments because they want them clues, ladies. They want those direct. They want to know what they're doing right. Okay, so they repeat it. Help. Okay, great. Offer specific compliments and gratitude for his efforts, strengths, and contributions to your life. Feeling valued and acknowledged can go a long way. We already talked about that. And making him feel loved and respected. And whereas we women lean to the loved end of things, like we want to feel loved, our men want to feel respected. And part of feeling respected is being heard. Oh, and being thanked and having quality time. These are the things that build and not tear down. And that's why I'm sharing them with you. And I'll say it again, these are the things that build and not tear down. You did hear that uninterrupted. You did hear that without judgment, right? Let it rest with you. Support his goals. Show support for his goals, aspirations, and passions. That is simple to do. Whether they're related to work, hobbies, or personal growth, encourage him to pursue his interests and dreams and be there to cheer him on. Offer that encouragement that only you can provide. Practical assistance when needed. You are not the savior. You are not the boss of anybody but your own self, but you can assist. And a good assist, for my sports people, you understand the value of a good assist, okay? And a nice stuck jar, you understand the value of a good assist. I'm being funny, but like seriously though. And then, we'll talk about that in a minute. I want to fall into the supporting his goals. So there are some things that I've dealt with humans where the goals kept switching. Okay, well, it was this career, or now it's that career, or it's this mindset, or now it's that mindset. I caution you on both sides of the gender spectrum. People grow. Okay, and who you got with in the beginning may not be who you are with now, especially if time has passed. Let people grow. Okay, let people grow. And I wanted to pause and kind of harp on that just for a minute, because it's not, maybe it's just not talked about a lot. Okay, and I want to make sure we highlight that and bring awareness to it, because people get to grow. And if someone can't grow around you, they might not stay around you. I think that's just the simplest way I could put it. But can I grow around you, and I cannot continue to become who I choose to become around you, I can't be around you. And I know there's a lot of gents that feel the same way. And for those females who sit back sometimes and like, why did he ghost me? Sometimes, and I ain't saying that that's all the time but sometimes it could be. Okay, self-inventory is important. Whether you are male or female, self-inventory is imperative. All right. I believe this is the last one for that thought. Create emotional intimacy. Y'all know what that is? Let's talk about it. Here you go. Foster emotional intimacy by sharing your own thoughts, feelings, and vulnerabilities with him in a safe and non judgmental environment. I am going to say non judgmental 1,001 times, and you're going to hear it. Build trust by being open and honest with each other. Work together to deepen emotional connections over time. We talked about that a little bit. Let's break it down slow. I believe in sharing your vulnerabilities and your emotions, right? And in a particular manner, because I'm not just trying to set you off wild, like, well, she said, go share my. We had a conversation in the other episode about being wise, right? Being wise in your sharing. And it is important. Sometimes you will dump. That's just the nature of relationship. It don't matter if it's romantic or not. Sometimes that's just the nature of relationship. And you need to pour out. Cool. Pour out. But that should not be every time you open your mouth. No. You need therapy. Straight out. You need a professionally trained listener. If it is your state that every time you open your mouth, you are pouring out storms of emotional death on the hearer. No, I will not advocate for that. Okay. So now that that is said, let's move back into what I will advocate for. Sharing yourself. You feeling some type of way? Something occurred? Well, let's have a respectful conversation about it so that we can get to the bottom of it and move the heck on. It does not need to ruin your entire freaking day if you rub somebody the wrong way or if you're rubbed the wrong way. Don't need to be an all-day thing. Grow up. Maturity. It's a thing. Let's engage it, okay? And it is beautiful to come together and sit and share the emotions. It is beautiful to come and be like, hey, listen, this is something that I feel insecure about. Back to the shadow. This is something that hurts. This is something that I don't understand, and if we were really brave enough to approach one another and say, I don't understand this. Can you please explain to me what you meant by? And coming without the fire and the anger and the revenge or let me shoot back emotions, but honestly, that hearing, that listening that we were talking about earlier, approaching with that heart is going to get you a lot further. And it, again, that is in your romantic relationship, that is in your parenting relationship, that is in your work relations. It really works if you work it. So let's get a quick recap in before we are done. We started off the conversation talking about shadow. What is the shadow? How do you access it? How do you make peace with it? And how to understand it? And I encouraged you to really turn off the TVs, turn off the phone, get it away from you. Grab you a pen and a paper and sit down with yourself and write. And for those who are not inclined to sit and write, even though I promise you something wonderful happens in your brain, in your body, in your mind, it all works together when you sit down to write a thing. Cool. You don't want to write it? I record yourself. Say all the things that you need to say. If your mind is moving 100 miles a minute, okay, go ahead, catch what you can. You might do better speaking it out, but don't be lazy about it. You know what you do next? You listen to what you recorded or read what you've written and get honest and clear about it. Get to the truth of your story, because we make meaning. We will make something mean something, but hold up. What actually happened? That's a whole other conversation we'll get to. Fast forward, we moved into the conversation about our men and how we treat them and the magic of being quiet or being polite and not using it the other way. The magic of shutting up. It's not probably kind to use those words, but how about just stop talking? Does that feel better for you? Use what feel better for you, okay, pumpkin? Stop talking for a minute and just be quiet and learn to listen. You don't have to fill the atmosphere with what you think and what you experience the entire time. It's not about that, especially for you ladies who love your men and want to keep them around. Pause that madness. Like honestly, deal with what's inside of you that provokes you to behave or speak that way. Learn respect. Learn respect because that is what our men value. They expect and they demand to be respected. And if you continuously disrespect that man, please, yeah, you better know something else is coming. So we're going to leave it like that. And I would say beyond that, understand the ways that you can add encouragement to the men in your life, that active listening, that beautiful intimacy, the vulnerability, the peace that only you can provide. And I'm speaking directly to the women when I say that, the peace that only you can provide. There is something magical about us unicorns called women. Okay, so I've offered you all of these reminders in this quick conversation, and I also will throw in that last tip that I did share, sticking those fingers underneath that thigh. Thumbs are pressed to the side, and you got 4 fingers just to tap. When you are engaged in active listening and you are a beginner and maybe it's a little bit tough and you need a little something to help you sit still and pay attention because you don't want your eyes off over here and they're telling you something serious and you ain't even hear what's being said. Don't do that. Tap. Give yourself a little tap and pay attention. And here's the other thing. Here's a part of being vulnerable. If you are overwhelmed and you are on the hearing end of things, hey, I need a break. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. This is a lot that you're sharing, and I need a minute to process it. Okay? And sometimes we haven't figured out how to turn our own mind off so that we can hear and receive what's being said. We're already ready with the response. We're already ready to go off. We are ready to have an opinion and share our opinion and our thoughts. Hold on, babe. Hold on. That's okay. And there's a time for that. There's a time for that. And men, please don't think I'm letting you off the hook. Like literally, I'm admonishing those around you to love on you. But yeah, the same is expected of you. Trust, like this reciprocity, like give and take, y'all. Come on now. Come on now. Time to be grown-ups. Time to be grown-ups. Okay, great. So we have pretty much concluded our time together, but I do want to run back and share a couple of things before we get out of here. Hey Veep, would you throw up that the women's event, please? Ladies, I'd love to take you on a womanly journey. After I said all these nice mean things to you, how dare I? Well, I dare. How about that? I'd love to take you on a womanly journey because I feel like we've lost a bit. We've lost a bit in the way that we find peace, in the way that we engage rest. And I'd like to restore some of that peace and beauty and rest into you on a womanly journey. May 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th. This is a virtual offering, okay? Tap in with me. If what I said today resonated with you, or if you checked out the other episodes, because we're on episode 3, and you feel like something was said that resonated with you, give it a chance. Let's have a conversation and see if you are a fit for this womanly journey. Thank you, Veep. You can drop it. Okay. And as I mentioned before, you can throw up that one for the men. May 17th through 19th in Atlanta. This is for you. You ain't got no excuse. If you hear this, you have no excuse. What do you have? No excuse. This is literally an opportunity for you men to come and take 3 days and tend to you. Not the phone, not the emails, not the woman, not the kids, not the house, not the dog, not the yard. 3 days to come and tend to you, your mind, your mental health, food, and playtime too. Yeah. Same time, engage. You about to do some work. That's all it boils down to. Text 321-443-2495. Slowly. 321-443-2495. SXPM is what you're texting to that number if you'd like to participate in the 3-day event. Men only. There will be no women besides me. And then I have men that come and train. Women, if you want to participate in that event, same number. You're texting Womanly Journey. Great show. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the question that you asked too. You asked some killer questions. just rude. But I appreciate them. I love questions. I really, really do. Okay, so I believe like business has been intended to. We covered everything that I cared to cover. I'm just thinking to make sure we didn't miss out anything. And if I did, I guess I'll be back next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am Melikia K. Courtney, and I have been your host for SXP Metamorphosis 365 because I believe we are alive 365 days and we need to be growing 365 days, okay? So, with that, thank you, and I'm going to giggle. I just realized my fifth toe. On a note, thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Appreciate you.